are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. And today we're here to talk about the 5th episode of Season 7 of Fear the Walking Dead, titled Till Death. We've got Aisha Tyler coming on to the cast as another dark horse, and we got Alex Skuby, who briefly came on and promptly exited, but it was really cool to see him. Lookie Alex Skuby. It was really great to see him there. A little bit of housekeeping, obviously. We are, today is the last day of June's Holiday Tunes, where you submit a video of yourself singing a holiday song featuring, generally speaking, the Walking Dead universe, but specifically adding the word or words June or June Dory or however you want to put it, but June has to feature in the song. It's a fun little project that we're putting together. It will ultimately show up as a video compilation that we will post. Those who participate in June's Holiday Tunes will also be in the running for a signed Believe in June t-shirt by none other than Jenna Elfman. Jenna Elfman signed the t-shirt. It's a cool t-shirt. She's a cool lady. And June is an awesome character. So today is the last day. Please, please, please submit your June's Holiday Tunes. I have to submit mine. I cannot win the t-shirt, but I can certainly sing a song. That's cool, but if you're interested, head over to Blazy Gardner's social medias on Instagram to find out more. Please DM her right away if you have any questions, and definitely if you want to upload a video of yourself and send it to her. In the meantime, we also have another cool thing, a live stream on Friday. What about? Well, it's the Walking Dead universe's Secret Santa. It's a cool little video project we do where we draw your name out of a hat and assign you a random TW Universe character whom you will give a holiday gift. Obviously, the characters aren't real, so you can't really give them the gift. But you can make it your own. The video in question can feature a Photoshop gift, just saying the gift out loud, or you can literally buy it. The point is, make it fun, be impressive, or not. Be cool. Just do the best you can. But if you want to participate in this video project, now we have a ton of people already, but we can certainly take more. Please DM Blazy Gardner, especially if you have any questions on what to do, as well as to just get your name in the running. Just say you're interested. And if you fall apart, whatever. It is what it is. But hey, we're going to be selecting the names, your names, those who've contacted Blazy Gardner, out of a hat, live on Friday. So please get your names submitted to Blazy Gardner, BLAZYGARDENER on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Hit her up, give her your name, and you can be involved in this project. 10 cast members are already doing this project as well, with us TWD family. So join us. I'm not supposed to say this out loud. Sharon D always yells at me afterwards. Don't tell them we have 10 cast members. Tough shit. We have 10 cast members. Join us amongst the cast members. Once you get into the inner circle, you'll know who's going to be involved. Maybe we'll tell you. There's a chance. Anyways, enjoy this episode. See you in the chat. And if you're on the preview, head over to youtube.com/squawkingdead. Obviously, you have to hit the like button. Hit it now. And obviously, you have to subscribe. Subscribe now. And it would be great if you enabled all notifications so you know when we go live. You know when we plan a live stream. See you soon in the chat, and have fun. And also, follow us on ko-fi.com/squawkingdead, ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. So you'll know when we record, so you can join us and lend your voice.
Somebody else now.
We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. And today we're talking about Fear the Walking Dead's 5th episode of season 7, titled Till Death, Honey. Yeah, it's the Dwight and Sherry episode, everybody. Oh, Samari asks, hey, everyone, by the way, you had a good day? Yeah, we are Squawking Dead. We always have a good day, right?
Yeah. Squawktastic.
Squawkerific.
It's amazing.
Squawktacular. I am so glad to be here with you guys. I mentioned before we got on that I'm so glad that our notes are sparse. It allows for better conversations, more wacky, off-the-wall, tangenty conversations, which, I mean, look, in podcasting world, it's a lot more preferable. It's not always great to have a script, you know? Sometimes you just have to go a little off script. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed all the clips we made from our Mo Collins interview last week. And it's kind of great that Mo was able to have her episode right before her husband's episode, quote unquote, where Alex, of course, shows up as a villain. It's kind of great that they come out one after the other. And for a second there, I thought we were going to get them in the same episode, but there was some confusion when it came to actually getting that information. It was like T Walking Deer World was like, he's an account basically. He was like, oh yeah, we're gonna see Alex in the next episode, and I was like thinking, oh, next episode, did we miss the next episode? Like, what? Did we miss his appearance in this in the episode, Mo's episode? Because this is where my brain's going.
Right.
I'm like, no, the next episode on AMC Plus, meaning not this episode. So goddamn confusing, my fucking god. So, and I think we're all sort of starting to make that mistake too. So,
yeah,
you know, when the next episode comes out, well, not technically yet. So stop posting shit pertaining to the week after's episode now.
My brain is just mush now trying to keep all this straight.
Yeah, this is like, how much punishment can we take before this is all over?
All of it. We will take all of it.
Fucking timelines.
I don't see that we have a choice.
Nope, no
fucking
choice.
timelines, fucking the season.
June's holiday tunes. So if you don't already know, you're going to take your favorite holiday song and adapt it to be Walking Dead universe related. Now the catch is you have to mention June in the song.
June Dory.
June Dory. She's got to be mentioned in the song. Doesn't have to be all about her, but she has to be mentioned in the lyrics that you rewrite. Send a video of yourself singing the song to Blazy Gardner. These videos are due by November 17th. Now, Friday of that same week, we're doing the drawing for Secret Santa. So if you want to be a part of our Secret Santa video, let me or Sharon know that you want to be a part of that so that we can get your name on a list and you will be part of that drawing on Friday, November 19th.
That's right.
Yes.
So yeah, the drawing is to assign the characters for that you will be gifting your Secret Santa gift.
We have on deck several cast members who are going to be in it with us.
Some of whom have never been in a Shutter Shades production.
This will be, some of them will be new, yes.
It's going to be great.
Yay! Oh, and the prize for the June's Tunes contest is
yes.
A signed Believe in June t-shirt, like Rachel has on, signed by Jenna Elfman.
Yeah, baby. It's great. And yeah, it's a random drawing. You participate in the June's Tunes thing for the fun of it, but as a cool incentive or a cool thing to have for the family for participating, there'll be a random drawing for people who contribute. So I think that's going to be great. Just so we don't, like, you know, we don't want to do things under false pretenses. We don't want to say, oh, well, you know, because you did this, you're going to get that. Well, no, it's do it for the fun of it. And then, you know, as a cool little, hey, how about we spin that wheel, see who gets this, right? So that's kind of cool.
Also, the winning video will also be in the Secret Santa.
Oh, okay. That's a cool new thing. Where do you think it'll show up? Like just smack dab in the middle?
Who knows?
It'll be a surprise.
Ooh.
I won't know until I get everything to edit, so I don't know.
Depends on what the song is, too. Where will it fit? Where will it sound the best?
Yeah, I'll probably edit this part out, but are we going to put all the tunes in a video, in a single video?
Yes.
Or okay, cool. I like it.
To enter the June's Tunes, you have to sub to Squawking Dead on YouTube.
Right.
Yes.
That
Of course
is a
I forget
requirement
that.
for entry. I do too every time. That's a requirement for entry. Sub Squawking Dead
I just
on YouTube.
assume everybody already is.
Yeah. Sub Squawking Dead on YouTube. You don't have to follow our social media accounts, but the YouTube is really important. But it's good to follow our accounts. Just a small little blurb about the merch store. What's great about shopping at our Squawking Dead merch store, you can get there, by the way, if you go to squawkingdead.com, click the main menu at the top left, and click merch. You don't have to buy anything from our store to help out the podcast. If you know of another creator or you want to look for some cool stuff on TeePublic, use the link on our website to buy that thing, because when you do, we earn commission. You know, it just helps support the podcast. So if you're planning on doing any TeePublic shopping, go through our link on the website, on any given video. I say this because it also gives us extra commission on our stuff. But if you want to drift away after you put some of our stuff in your cart and buy stuff from other people's stores, that also helps us out. And it really, really makes a difference. We have some really, really cool things in the merch store. I worked really, really, really hard on these updated designs and art. I will be actually, hopefully, continuing to work on some of the art. Some of them just feel a little off to me. I'm talking about mainly the Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 art concept, as well as the Walking Dead Season 10 concept art. Something about it, I even when I was doing the graphics for Season 6, I had modified it so that the background would suit the screen cap of the intro, the title sequence. To kind of adapt it, so like for every episode there'd be another one. So I need to kind of make that background transparent so that when somebody chooses a color for that particular shirt, the color of the shirt will be in the background and it'll show as the background. So I kind of want to do that. So I'll be continuing to work on the art. I will update everybody as it goes, but please take a look at the merch store. There's some really, 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 really cool things there. And hey, comment if something feels off. And, you know, we like compliments. We're human.
Mario wants to know if the merch shop will ship overseas.
Yes, actually. It's
Good
actually...
question, Mario.
Good question, Mario. It does, and in most cases, the shipping comes faster in the UK / Europe than it does in the US. It's really,
That's
really
crazy.
weird. Yeah. It's cheaper, and it comes faster. So give it a try if you are overseas from the US. See what comes up, because they have shipping centers all over the world. And hey, you can always participate in any one of our giveaways, like the one we just had. We announced the winners not too long ago. We will ship it to you no matter how much it costs anywhere around the world. You are worth it. Thank you for listening, especially you motherfuckers in Austria, because I don't have the charts in front of me right now, but like we're doing super well in Austria. We're starting to do better in Canada. It's pretty amazing. Look, it's not,
Awesome.
It's not the best. Obviously it's not the best, but it's when I see things
it's
like
something.
this, it's great. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm not expecting the best, but somehow we're cracking like the top 200 in Canada for some reason, in TV reviews or TV and film. And then in Austria in multiple categories, especially in episodes. Oh, we cracked a new one. A new country in one of the episodes, and I can't remember which. It was our Walking Dead World Beyond coverage, by the way, 162. Ooh. Yeah, so that cracked like within the top 10 of whatever. I can't remember the exact country, but it was in TV and film or TV reviews. So how did you feel about this episode, Rachel? Because I say Rachel because this episode reeks of like that whole principled nature of people, like what it means to believe in principles, are good guys being good guys, bad guys being bad guys. But there's a little bit of crossover, obviously, and there's a little bad to do good sort of thing. But what did you think of this episode? It seemed like in the pre-show you were like really psyched to talk about this one because you weren't quite sure whether you liked this one more than the last one, and I would have said, bite your tongue. Anyway.
It's tough. I mean, they were both really, really, really great episodes. For completely different reasons too. But this episode 705, I absolutely loved it. Sharon and I were talking pre-show too, and about how fun this episode was. Like it just had like a completely different like pep to it almost. I love seeing Strand. Wait,
hold up. Do you know why it has a bit of pep to it? Lenny James directs this one.
Because it was written that way.
Lenny James directs this one a little, yeah, and Aisha Tyler.
A little?
Yeah, the whole thing. Sorry.
Oh, Lenny directed this episode, not just a little.
Not just a little, yeah, the whole thing. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said that.
Well, that's cool. That's cool, Lenny. You know what? I didn't know that, but great job, Lenny. It was absolutely wonderful. I really, really, really enjoyed it for a lot of, like you were saying, watching our good guys be good guys, right? And I was also saying pre-show how I am starting to come around on Sherry. I don't quite despise her like I did, and this episode definitely helped
6.
with that. Yeah. I see her having a purpose now. I see where they're going to, take a potential storyline. And I really like it. I like that she is taking everything from her past, everything in her history. She's learned from it. She's carrying it with her, and applying it to everything that she's doing. I mean, the first time I watched this, the fact that Strand called his place a sanctuary, right over my head. Didn't even catch it when he said it. And then Sherry brings it back up and I went, oh, he did. Oh my gosh. Like
the fact that you're calling
that kind of stuff
makes me not want to live here.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I did start seeing like a lot of the similarities between Strand and Negan and stuff like that. But I've been excited for a few weeks now to see Aisha.
Oh, okay.
And then a few days ago we found out about Alex, which made me even more excited. And I'm just like, oh my God, hurry up and show me this episode already, because I need it in my eyeballs. So.
I need it in my eyeballs. But it's great to see two comedic actors in the same thing, but not sort of being comedic. Well, I mean, it's kind of like the Mo Collins effect a little bit. Yeah.
A little.
A little. Yeah, you're right. There is a little bit of that going on. Right.
Yeah.
Mostly with Alex, I think.
Yeah.
I think for us, that kind of gave us a little extra fun boost because we knew it was Alex. You know? And I was like, this guy's fun. Because normally we would have been like, oh, fuck that dude. But it was Alex. So we're like, oh, it's Alex.
Looky what I got here, Wayne. It's a little TMYK/ZenAF podcast reference.
Is it bad? I recognized him from the ankles. I'm like, oh, I've seen those in Crocs.
Alex? Just to be clear. Okay.
Yeah, Alex's ankles in Crocs. I've seen that.
We're calling the other guy Wayne just out of convenience, right? Because I mean, it's
poor Wayne.
I don't know. Is it him? I don't know that it is him. No, but even if it's not him, it's Wayne. It's just
we're just calling him Wayne. Did he have a name? Did the other guy have a name?
I don't think so.
It's Wayne, not Wayne.
All he said was all Alex said was like, "You killed my friend."
Yeah,
but I don't think
you
he
killed
gave
my
him a
friend,
name.
my podcast co-host.
The other name he says was like Milas.
Or Miles,
but we never even met that person.
No,
Sherry and Dwight killed them before we even showed up,
which was just like oddly glossed over and ominous. Like it was supposed to be more ominous than Eli makes it sound. That's the character's name, Eli, not Alex. Not
I'll
Alex
never
and
remember
Wayne.
That. It's Alex. It's Alex.
It's Alex.
Well, I can't forget because my father's name is Eliyahu. So it's
okay.
Which is kind of cool. I mean,
I agree with Rachel. I thought it was just a lot of fun. It was a fun episode, especially compared to the first four, because they've all been kind of serious,
heavy,
and heavy.
Very
so
heavy,
this one was, even though it had its serious moments, and I'm going to talk about that because there was a whole lot of parallels in this episode that make me feel very uncomfortable. The when they were taking out all the walkers and the wrestling, that was hilarious. And Strand's laugh when he realized that Sherry and Dwight were the dark horses.
I want that laugh to be my text tone.
Yeah.
I want to hear that every time I get a text.
One. Well, your other one is like of a guy. Your current one is of a guy suffering, isn't it? Ah!
No, my current one is Negan, little pig.
Oh, really? Whose text tone is that then? I know I heard that before.
You may be remembering my general notification tone, which is Rick going, Carl!
Yeah, that might be it. I can never quite make it out, obviously, right? Yeah. Wow.
It's Rick screaming Carl.
Carl! That's how it sounded to me. Okay. Yeah. Wow. It's your general notification is of a guy suffering. How could you?
Yeah, Rick.
Oh, it's Rick. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because notifications make me suffer too.
Oh my God.
They're there. They're just like on my screen staring at me, and I have to get rid of them all.
Wouldn't it be great if my ringtone was, my text tone was "Mom"? Like, isn't that great?
Mom.
Like, Mom. Sam. Was it Dodson? Was it Major Dodson?
Yeah, it's Major.
Sam Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
I just think of all the times I message you every day, and if it's like Carl every time I message you, oh my God, I'm gonna stop.
Well, My phone, I do have all these noises set to go off, but 95% of the time my phone is on vibrate and it doesn't make any noise at all. So,
So which one would you set to Strand's laughter?
probably the text tone. I could
Okay.
get rid of Negan.
Definitely not Discord. Definitely not Discord. Can you imagine? It's constant laughter.
Yeah. Well, my text tones have their own sound, and then pretty much every other notication all sounds
Carl.
the same.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I just wouldn't put Strand's laughter as anything in my, because just the,
I could watch that on a loop. His reaction was just so
over the
genuine.
top.
It was genuine too. Like he was legit surprised to find out Dwight and Sherry were standing in front of him. That was a shock for him, and I loved it.
But let's be more accurate. It was a pleasant shock. It sounds like, because it sounds like he got killed two birds with one stone. Like, okay, he must have wanted to find them anyway, but to find out that they were the dark horses that everybody's heard of, right? I know it makes me laugh too, right?
Dark horses
I mean, the name is apt.
should be dead horses.
Like the name of the book, Sherry's Dead Horses. coming this fall on Fox.
They call themselves that to honor all of the horses that they've put down in their past.
Do you think that's like an inside joke now at this point? Like,
Gotta be.
like, okay, we can't be on the nose and say dead horses. It's called dark horses. It's the murky name of dark horses, encompassing general. Like, they're not villains, guys. You just can't call them dead horses.
Right.
Although that would be in honor of the horses she shot
Yeah.
to finally reconcile with Dwight. I'd kill 1,000,000 dead horses to get back with you, Dwight.
Hey, Dwight killed one too. Don't forget, Dwight is responsible for the death of a horse. Also, don't put it all on Sherry.
Help me out with this one, because
Yep.
I don't remember
When they were when they were wrangling the herd,
5:16.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
and he jumped off the horse and left it to die.
He didn't. But he didn't shoot it in the face.
Well, that probably would have been better if he did.
Maybe you're
Yeah.
right. Maybe you're
Sherry
right.
should have been around for that one.
You know, that says a lot about the relationship. Dwight being remember how I called Dwight a dumbass? So maybe Sherry has more sense than we thought.
I also love that right when Strand brings Dwight and Sherry into the tower, the first thing we see is beer and pretzels.
Yeah. There's some things about this episode. I know I'm glossing over that fact, but I'm really not, because there's some things in this episode that are too on the nose. It's, beer and pretzels. That's Dwight and Sherry. Hey, it's exactly what they wanted. Even like the wrestling stuff was too like, oh, all right, we're going to really do this? All right. Okay.
She was a wrestler.
It was
That's what
great.
made it fun.
I was
Yeah.
I don't know why I was conflicted about it. Help me out here, because I think on the one hand, I've always said,
I will help you.
I've always said that, like, things like Eugene's humor and Abraham and I just love seeing humor in some scenes and like people getting a laugh out in the middle of this misery and stuff like that. It's not like I love the misery. I love it when we can insert this stuff. But can you help me out with this, because why is it that
so-
I'm so conflicted about this?
Maybe you think it's too campy.
A little bit.
Okay.
It's one thing if it was like a little scene.
This is what Mickey and Cliff did before the apocalypse.
Right.
Okay, this was their way of life. They were wrestlers. So if you take anybody pre-apocalypse, okay, take Rick Grimes, for example, take someone else with prior fighting skills. Anyway,
Abraham.
the
Ford.
skills
Daryl.
Abraham, Daryl, thank you.
Military, yeah.
So the skills you have pre-apocalypse are the skills you're going to use when the world falls, right? I mean, if you have a fighting technique already, you're going to use that to survive. These are her fighting techniques. This is how she has survived. She can do this, and it works. So that's her fighting style.
Yeah. No.
Campy as it might be, but it works.
You know
she
what?
was doing this pre, and she's continuing post.
I think, it wouldn't have been so bad, because I liked the pile driver and I liked the turnbuckle thing, but after a little while it was kind of like, but the thing that got me was the till death do us part move. That's the thing. I was like, that's this big finisher move that was supposed to, that's what that was?
From the top rope.
Was it from the top rope?
And
Yeah. from the top
done it,
rope.
and she hadn't done it in years. Give her a break.
All right, I'll give her a break. It's fine. It's fine.
And the last time she did that was with her husband. So that was a big deal
move.
for her to be
Okay.
able to do that. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Maybe,
And it was
maybe
it was the last walker.
yeah.
maybe the music bothered you a little bit too, because the music was, even when I was watching it the first time, I was like, well, this is an interesting music choice.
I loved it, but I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
like,
I'm not saying
we're
it
going,
wasn't
we're
good. I'm
going
just saying
there.
maybe,
Okay.
maybe that's part of the reason you have a problem with it.
Honestly, no. That I was actually fine with that. I you know what's funny about that song? I did the research for a completely different song, World of Reggae. At first,
World of Reggae. Yeah. No, this is Damian Marley.
Yeah, but exactly. It's remixing.
Yeah.
Ini Kamosi,
Yeah.
Damian Marley. Yeah, so it was cool. It was really cool, but it wasted so much time on my end. That's why I was a little late to this recording. But when I found out what it meant, it's a whole other story. And I really like it because it has everything to do with, I know I'm glossing over my gripes. It has everything to do with the glitz and glam of a Jamaican holiday, but the political realities on the ground of Jamaica, the violence, the police violence, but also the cultural violence that goes on in corruption and murder that happens in Jamaica. So it's kind of interesting to kind of see this song being used in this episode, the glitz and glam of wrestling, but the realities underneath. We know the stories, or maybe we don't, but that's they just look into it. You'll see. But also it tells you a lot about this world. You know, they talk about the realities of this world. Okay, this world is rough. But are we pretending to be outlaws? Are we fighting on principles? This is what I took away from it. Is like, are we just pretending that we can be this way, that we can be outlaws in this kind of world? The episode goes through this conundrum, or possible conundrum, between Dwight and Sherry, living in this world, being the righters of wrongs, doing bad to do good, you know, but in order to kind of balance the load. The thing that actually bothered me the most about this episode, not like I hated this episode or anything like that, but I had problems with it because it deals a lot with the idea of principles. You know, people upholding to certain principles in order to have a framework with which to survive a very, very tough environment. And you say what you will about Eli, but even he displays a certain type of principle. Like, he does things out of principle, as much of a shitbag as he ends up being. But I see Dwight and Sherry's principles, and I wonder, what makes them any different than Iris in TWD World Beyond? Because they're, in some ways, fighting against a vicious and implacable radioactive tide. Do you feel what I'm saying? Like, they're being this way, but even I'm looking at this and going, it's great because it's everything I'm attracted to as a person who likes heroes. So that's why sometimes I identify with you, Rachel. I'm like, I love heroes. I love people who are trying to do good and be good. But I know that's a trap for me because I'm like, well, guys, we have to be a little practical. And sometimes we can't hold our principles. We can't always do it because then we'll die. So is anything I'm saying making sense at all? Like, did that bother you, first of all? Like, that they were very gung-ho about principles, even though they got ambushed later, and again,
No,
sort of,
not
at the end?
That did not bother me at all because I understood right away what they were doing. They were trying to overcorrect what happened at Negan's sanctuary.
I see.
So I get it. I get what they're doing, and it made sense to me, so it didn't bother me. But I see what you're saying about them going gung-ho on the principles. But at the same time, I understand why.
Yeah. But did you notice also, and this is the thing that further, now this part almost didn't bother me as much because it kind of makes sense. But in the effort of overcorrecting, they employed Negan's tactic, you know, kill one to send a message to the other, you know, kind of not exactly to fall in the line to be in the sanctuary or whatever, to be one of my conglomerates or franchises, but like in the effort of making a clean kill, like, you know, you announce your intentions, you give people a chance, just like Negan did. And then, you know, you try not to kill them all. You know, you kill one. And then the rest of them get the message. That's how they're well known as the Dark Horses, because they leave some people alive to spread the message.
I didn't get that at all. No, I didn't get that at all. They didn't kill because they wanted to. That was a complete necessity.
I didn't say that, though.
But I mean, even, we're going to take one out to send a message. It wasn't like that at all. They killed that guy because he drew on them. It had nothing to do with them sending a message. Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
Who did you think they killed to send a message?
I mean, obviously they kept people alive for them to get the word out.
I think they tried to leave everybody alive. It was the people that drew on them or tried to fight them that they ended up killing. Because I don't think that they were planning like that at all. I don't know.
No, I don't think they're purposely looking for people to kill in order to keep people in line. But I'm saying if you do bad, and of course you should ride out and right wrongs and stuff like that. I mean, I'm agreeing with that.
With Eli and the other guy, they were going to let both of them go. That Eli, the other guy, because we didn't get his name,
Wayne.
he was pulling his gun.
Wayne, just call him Wayne.
Ween pulled the gun on him, and they killed him for that. Even Dwight was like, "I didn't want to kill anybody today."
Actually, I think he took the gun too from Dwight. Which one? Who had the gun that Ween just took off of them?
I think
it was Sherry,
Ween
maybe.
grabbed
was
Sherry's
Sherry.
gun,
Yeah.
and Alex went after Dwight. Yeah,
It's funny because like Eli, that almost sounds
it's
worse.
Ween and Alex now.
He mentioned something interesting because, like, again, we're clashing principles. Like, in a world where this is the case, like where this world is devastated, there's something about Eli bringing up, "Hey, if you can't protect what's yours, it wasn't yours," kind of thing. You know, there's that principle going on as well.
We've heard that before.
Yeah. Who'd we hear it from?
I knew you were
I
going
think
to
it's
ask me
Virginia,
that.
right?
Sarah.
Oh yeah, it was Sarah.
What
Sarah
was it?
and
if
Megan.
if you can't hold on to what's yours,
Sarah-
then
yours.
it's not
said it
yours
first.
anymore.
To Clayton.
Sarah said it first, and then
Yes!
and then Megan.
Semi,
said to
though.
Morgan.
Yeah, but in reference to Clayton Semi. That's what I was saying. Very interesting. Without explicitly saying it, he really kind of just says it. He's like, "Yeah, so what? You couldn't hold on to it, so it's mine." And so it's interesting how like that principle may not exactly, or maybe it does apply, post-apocalypse. But it applies even further in the nuclear apocalypse. I don't know, but it whatever it was, it made me pause. It made me pause to think about what Eli was saying. Not Alex. It's Eli. Because it's really not Alex. He's not that kind of. He's NAF. This is why I complain about this a little bit, because we've come to become a lot more practical minded this far into the apocalypse. This is why I refer to this as the Iris effect. Normally, in the beginning of the apocalypse, we'd be all on board with Iris, aka Rick. Because this is the principled leader that says, "Fuck this, you have a choice. You have a choice to be good. And if you don't be good, I'm going to shoot you." Right? I'm going to go after you.
What a choice.
Right. But this kind of exemplifies the point. Like, even Eli later on goes, "Hey, you didn't have to shoot my friend." And case in point, Eli himself doesn't shoot Dwight. And yes, I thought of the solution of why he doesn't shoot Dwight. But he says the value of a bullet, you're not worth wasting a bullet on. Meaning, I think you're trying to do good out here, but you got the message all mixed up. I think you're doing generally a good thing, but like, hey, don't get in my way. But I noted the fact that he just didn't kill him, and he could have, and maybe he should have, but he doesn't. And I don't have to waste you. You may have killed my friend, but I'm better than you. My principles are better than yours. And, Dwight pulls his move and kicks Alex. Okay, fine. To the ground. Very good, very cool practical effect. I hope it's not practical, but him getting kicked down like that was a really cool sequence. And then
cool.
Alex's acting was really, really on point. Just having the wind knocked out of him and everything. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you think about what I've just said too? Because we are playing with themes that we've discussed at length for the last 4 years, like the idea of being practical minded when it comes to your ethics, rather than absolute minded or objective minded when it comes to ethics. We don't fight about this, but like we internally struggle, each and every one of us, with these ideas of absolute morality versus subjective morality.
The truth is, in the apocalypse, you can't live on your principles. You have to compromises, or you won't survive. So, I mean, there's just no way.
And like in the back of your mind, you're thinking, he's not that bad for a podcast host. So, stealing dragon fruit, and that's kind of like the thing. He's kind of right a little bit, like right, quote unquote, about you're going to do this over fruit.
Who was the person who couldn't bend their principles? John. And look where he is.
Yeah.
I was talking to Rachel earlier about I am deeply, deeply, deeply concerned about a couple of characters, given all of the John and June and Humbug's Gulch parallels going on.
First of all, this episode is the 5th episode in season 7. The 5th episode in season 6 was also the Dwight and Sherry episode. That was kind of cool. A cool little reflection from this season to last season. There's also something.
The 5th episode in season 4 was the John and June episode.
The Laura episode. Yeah, I thought that was cool too. I was going to note that, but also I was trying to see if there was a link in season 5 as well, but it happens to be that the Dwight
skid mark.
Yeah, the Dwight reappearance it was in episode 3, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he comes back in Humbug's Gulch.
It would have been kind of cool if it was 5 though.
505 was end of everything.
the
Al and Isabel,
which is the next episode. So maybe they meant to do this, but I think it was kind of cool that you get the Mo episode and they get the Alex Skuby episode. Mm-hmm. I realized that we may have taken it for granted that you did not know that, but here we are. Alex Skuby, who plays Eli in this episode, is married to Mo Collins, who plays Sarah in Fear the Walking Dead. Oh, so going back to the scene with Eli and Dwight, one of the last few, Eli's last scene, I encourage you not to be too worried, because at the end of the day, in Eli's dying words, he says, "What happened to holding up to your code?" And Eli pulling out some earwax bits of wisdom in his last dying breath. I mean, yeah, he says things that gets us to think. I know this sounds weird, and maybe I'm giving Alex a little bit more weight than is due, but it did get me to pause. Like, what about the code? Number one, Eli didn't shoot Dwight, didn't kill Dwight. He just said, "Hey, I just want to, you kind of abandoned it. For all I knew, you kind of abandoned," even though, like, okay, of course, we fucking hate Eli for murdering the Larsons. I'll get to that in a minute, though. But we do. In principle, we do. But also, like, for all Eli knew, it's like, okay, well, this is my horse now. You're probably dead or whatever. So here we go. But I'm leaving you alive. So back off, buddy. But then Dwight wastes him, which is, I don't know, is kind of a weird loosey-goosey thing on the code. So so should we be worried about them holding too hard to principle? And what do you think of that? Because that didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. I just want to be clear about it. It did not bother me that Dwight wasted Eli. But like when you got like something in your teeth, that's the equivalent of what this was to me.
Well, I mean, why would he knows for certain that Alex, sorry, yeah, I'm just gonna call him Alex, that Alex killed the Larson, so why would he feel like it's against his code to take out a guy who's obviously a murderer? And not just a murderer, but a murderer of a freaking kid, like a little girl.
Yeah.
So why would he even feel the slightest qualm about taking him out? Because he gave him every chance. Hey, you could be just like Dwight gave Raleigh a chance back in season.
Good callback.
5. Mm-hmm. You could stop being an asshole and be a good guy. Here's your chance, and he didn't.
Backfired.
Yeah. Good callback.
Yeah. Well, Sherry tells Strand, their code is to save people from assholes like you, and unfortunately, I think Eli sort of falls into that category, having just massacred a whole family.
Yeah, unfortunately, and it could have turned out differently. Maybe, like to Dwight's point, meaning if he had just returned the fruit, Eli would have been okay, and Ween.
Yeah, Ween would have been fine too. Well, Eli killed the Larsons to get a place in Strand's tower. It almost doesn't even matter now, but I wonder how he would have been had he made it to the tower. Is he an asshole, or was he doing what he had to do to survive? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know enough about the character to call him a cold-blooded evil murderer. You know what I mean? He did do the thing, but if he were in a safe place, would he still be a murdering a-hole? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the other side of the coin, right? Like, you have a chance of doing good out here, right? And then you have a chance that, hey, if you murder this family, you guaranteed safety. Is that so bad in this kind of world, right? So we're testing our principles against the pressure, and I'm not always going to be ready to stand in judgment, but obviously I'm making internally, personally, my call is fuck that guy. Fuck Eli. Fuck him in the face for killing that family. But let me touch on that, on him killing the Larsons. Did you get this weird feeling? I was sad about the Larsons kicking the bucket and for seeing Walker Briga, but part of me felt like weirdly disconnected from it. Did you guys feel that as well? Like, I felt the initial tug. My first reaction, of course, was like, no. But then, as things went on really quickly, I felt weirdly disconnected from that emotion.
I was too focused.
I'm trying to put my finger on it.
I was too focused on trying to figure out what exactly happened, because Kevin and Kim were both shot in the head and Briga turned. Right. So I was trying to figure out, did he kill Briga in front of them and then let her turn and then shoot them in the head, or did he shoot them first and then why didn't Briga get shot in the head? Why was she allowed to turn?
Because she was small enough that he could kill her without having to use a bullet, whereas
the value
him
of a bullet.
And Kevin would have fought back. So he had to shoot them, whereas he could just kill Briga with his hands.
We could have stabbed her in the head and not, instead of letting her turn.
Or he also wanted to get back at Dwight, which might be another reason he was going to let him live, to have to live with the knowledge that Dwight was the reason that the Larsons were killed.
Yeah, a little obstacle for Dwight when he gets back. If he overcomes this, fine, but then he lives with that memory. And if he doesn't, well, he's dead. He's a walker too. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why I wasn't as heartbroken. I don't know what the right word is.
Because we really didn't get to know them. I mean, we got 5 minutes of them in the last episode of last season, and we got 3 minutes of them in this season.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
so I mean, where's the connection other than like, oh, I'm sad this little kid got killed, but
yeah. Did you guys feel
really
the same way though? Because I still want to feel like the only weirdo. Okay.
No, it. Like I said, I was more focused on what was going on. Like it didn't even register as an emotion. I'm like, wait a minute, why did they? And then that, and and then the next scene was here, and it was already forgotten.
Do you think Strand really ordered it, or do you think it was Howard?
Oh, farts! You just brought in something I wasn't thinking of. Well, and to your point, he goes, "I didn't get a name." And Strand never leaves the tower. So the only person that would orchestrate this is Howard. Oh, man. But then, see, I had brought up a theory that I don't know if I discussed on air about Strand. I think I mentioned this. I don't remember if I mentioned this in text or in Discord. I think it was Discord. Well, hey, join a tier, be in our Discord. Then we'll have these discussions. But I had mentioned something to the effect of Strand feeling like he needs to be the villain for everybody to fight against.
Yeah, you brought that up on air.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it on it. Yeah.
I just want to refresh that again and then go back to it being Howard because I'm happy to be wrong because I don't want him to be a villain, and you saying that makes that possible.
Well, I mean, look, Strand is like he had a reason to throw Will off the roof. He had
himself.
a reason. He had a reason to kill Sanjay. But what
friends.
reason would he have to murder a little kid? I just don't see Strand going that far. Is to murder a fucking little girl.
You know what? I'll even say
I agree.
I can't believe I'm saying this, guys. When I was watching it, at least the second time around, I don't know if I thought this the first time around, but I said to myself, I don't know if I would put it past Strand. I don't know if Strand has that Negan-esque, I don't kill kids vibe, even though there's many comparisons between Strand and Negan or Strand's tower and the sanctuary. I just don't know. I don't know the depths of Strand's duplicity or his villainy. That part of me comes out where I'm like, well, does he have a limit? I don't know. My heart says something different. My heart says, oh no, Dave, no, he'll be a good guy again. You'll see. Hold on to hope, Davey. I know. Listen, I'm telling that part.
It's the hope that kills you.
Just like the hope that, right? A lot of that is going on in this episode. The idea of holding on to your principles, holding on to the good that everybody should do versus holding on to their subjective principles, subjective morality. This is the way things are. And so in that, we're seeing Strand from two different lenses. The lens we know and have seen, and the lens we're seeing now, the subjective reality that we're seeing right now. It's almost like confrontational in how they're presenting these concepts. It's like, hey, we're Dwight and Cherry, pew, pew, pew. We're outlaws for justice, pew, pew, pew. And then and maybe it's also like wrestling. It's just overtly in your face. Like, oh, we're obviously the good characters and they're obviously the heel. Right? Like Strand is obviously overacting at being the heel and is the heel. So it's very confrontational. It's very obvious.
You notice there was no picture of Brigga in the pile of pictures. So I'm thinking like Howard, I think Rachel mentioned this when we were talking about it. Howard was like, Strand was like, hey, I need to get rid of these people or I need to do something about these people. And Howard took it upon himself to take them out. But even he knows that Strand would
hold back, you're saying.
Would object to the murder of a little girl. So they didn't take a picture of her.
I will definitely put that in the back of my mind. But you know what? There's also a matter of chain of evidence or like a broken telephone, let's say. Let's say Strand said, like you said, let's say Strand says to Howard, hey, I've got a real problem here. We gotta disconnect that tooth, from Dwight and Cherry. I don't know that he knows whatever. So then he tells that to Howard. Howard gets one part of the message, tells it to Eli. Eli takes it upon himself to do something completely different. Or not different, but there could be... So I know we're building up a little bit of a defense, but there could be a broken telephone message, meaning maybe even Howard didn't want that to happen. Maybe he wanted to just rough him up a little, whoever he's staying with. Because does Howard know, or does Victor know that he's staying with a couple? I don't think so.
I was just thinking the same thing. Strand knows they have a place, so he could have sent Howard out to look for this place.
And
then
knows
Howard
they're
gets
struggling.
there. And so Howard gets there, Howard sees the people, and then decides he's going to kill them. Strand might not even
Or
know that there's people
Eli,
there.
more to the point.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, via Eli. Yeah,
No, I
via
just make
Eli,
that
but-
clear, right? And in that, Howard may have just wanted to make, just like Morgan's situation, clear out because what he did in Morgan in the second episode of season 7, they cleared out Morgan's place. They took everything. They even took they left the green beans, like we said. The green beans, nobody likes green beans, but they left those. But everything else, all the food they took to make Morgan's life miserable, even more miserable than it already is. So maybe the objective here, and Howard did that himself, because of course Victor wants it done right, so he lets the demon do it. So, again, every time I see Howard, demon! So...
For real. Ever since we met Howard, I've always there's always just been like something about him. And I'm going to say I like Howard, not because I think he's a good guy, just because I find him a very interesting character.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've talked about it on the show, but I know Sharon and I have talked about how Howard has the potential to be even worse than Strand.
You've mentioned that.
And I see that because I keep going back to season 6 finale when Strand confesses to Howard about all the shit he's done and that he lied to him. And how does Howard react?
He shrugs.
He's like,
all right.
He's unfazed by all this information. What kind of a sane person is not fazed by this?
Yeah. Or, see, the way I even played that off was, well, obviously that's different now. The way I even played that off at the time is like, okay, what am I going to do? I've lived here in relative, let's say I'm Howard. I've lived here in relative company alone. From my point of view, it's probably better to have company with someone who is kind of not great, maybe somebody that can protect me, than be alone and with all these creature comforts. We've seen this before too. Like, we've seen people who've lived in. It's kind of like, okay, it's like the Twilight Zone episode with Time Enough at Last. Burgess Meredith. He's a clerk who loves reading books, but he's always called out for reading books and developing himself in his book reading, his constant chain smoking book reading. And then he finally has a means to stop time and read all he wants. But he finds out that that's not the be all end all. Finds out a little too late. That the people are the thing too. It's like the subtext of the episode. And Howard himself is like saying, "I have everything I need and everything I want." Oh, there's people. Oh, hey, well, he's not that great. Yeah, but whatever. Life sends you lemons, you make lemonade, and he made some fucking great lemonade. Demon.
Demonade.
Demonade. So anything can go in that one. So they may have hired Eli. Hey, would you like to live in this tower? It's pretty great up here. Yeah, my friend Ween just died. So, and so I said, looky here to this dragon fruit. That's all I was doing. I'm just a good guy trying to live his honest truth out in the wild. Except with a deeper voice. And so, yeah. And he goes, yeah, sure. I'm sick and tired of this shit. I keep trying to live by the ethics of this world and the world. And now these motherfuckers keep coming out of nowhere and saying, you can't do that. Wag your finger. So then he goes the extra mile. I find it a little bit hard to believe that Howard doesn't have a hand in this, though. It feels like it could be that he took the initiative in not only wrecking the place that they were living at, but they probably made it so that it's unpalatable. Now, one thought that I had in the back of my mind, this really goes to your point, Sharon D. The one thought I had in my mind, which you resolved by you saying what you did, possibly, is Strand is super smart, and and this goes to my theory about Strand really wanting to be the bad guy for his friends to fight against. Because why would you do that? Why would you wreck their place? I know Dwight brings it up later and says, oh, maybe he wants to break us and say that, oh, my way is the only way. But that doesn't make sense to me, especially when you're dealing with principled people. Why would you make it so that they would... Because most people, when you challenge them, they double down. Especially high-minded principles, like really, like in a world like this, why would you hold on to these principles? Most people will double down and die trying, especially people like, well, I don't know, maybe not especially Dwight and Sherry. So maybe he's onto something. But why would you take the chance of them doubling down and coming that much harder at you, going further into their principles? And so I thought, that is a stupid move. Why would Victor do that? But going back to your point, that wasn't Victor's doing. That might not have been Victor's doing. That might have been Howard's, but it might not have been Howard's either. Because Howard seems to be a somewhat, at least, on the ball. Even though sometimes Victor has to go, no. Shh, don't do that. You're good. Stop. Howard. Shh. So it could have been Eli that fucked things up for Victor.
Yeah, now I'm trying to remember when Dwight finds finds the Polaroid, what exactly did Eli say?
Eli? Yeah.
Did
About
what
the
exactly did he
Polaroids.
say? Did he say that he was supposed to kill those people, or how exactly did that go down? Now I'm wondering what he was sent there to do. Was he sent there to mess the bunker up and clear the place out, or was he sent there to kill people? Because neither Strand nor Howard would know that there were people there. They just know that Sherry and Dwight have a place that's not doing well.
Right.
Except I wondered if Strand was kind of like, had maybe sent Howard to look or something, because he was like, when Dwight says, we have a place, and he's like, how's that working for you? Like, he knew that things weren't going well.
Already?
Somehow. I mean, but then I wonder how, because he was surprised when he realized
Well,
it was
I think
them,
it was
so.
he picks up on it on instinct. Dwight literally says, "Oh, we're getting by," and then Strand laughs. He's like, you're getting by? Sounds great." Like that. That's kind of how he plays it off. Because look, when you're dealing with principled people, they're going to be stupid honest sometimes.
Strand might just be assuming, like, I mean, given
Yeah.
the state of the world,
It's a good gamble.
it's a pretty safe assumption that wherever you're at is not doing well. Because
Right.
if you're not here, you're not living. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, also, like, I think Strand also knows that principled people sometimes do principled things in lieu of, I don't know, a stable situation. I see this all the time. I see people who have shit lives go on these, and I'm trying not to bring out like specific concepts or ideas, but every now and again I do have a friend who really does not have their life together, but will will hoist a petard of like some sort of just cause, and I'm like, you can barely get your life together. Why are you trying to get other people's lives? Why are you trying to build up other people's causes? Get your shit together first, then work in other causes and stuff like. Meanwhile, they're like destitute, like they're not doing great. They're quick to point out the ills of other people while not addressing their own ills. And case in point with this episode, Dwight can't quite articulate the fact that he wants to have children in this world, but maybe he's doing this. Maybe the whole point of him doing this is to build a world in which he can accomplish that. So there's a little bit of interplay here, but it does go to what some people do in life. So maybe Strand's picking up on that and saying, oh, okay, you're playing dress up and cowboy justice guy. Pew pew, just because you have nothing to do. There's no point in this world because your life's miserable. That's entirely possible. Let's go on the note of the Polaroids, though. Well, first of all, the obvious comparison to the satellite station in The Walking Dead. Where they post Walker, I think it's Walker kills or people kills.
No, people kills.
Is it people kills? So there is a little of that going on. If you are to compare it with the Sanctuary or the Saviors or the satellite station, there's a little bit of that interplay going on. But does that speak to a bigger cause that you can maybe take Strand at his word that this is definitely a wall of the lost to comfort the people who will end up in his domicile. Like there's something alluring about keeping people here to remind them of the people that they lost on the outside.
Did you notice the little shrine in the middle of the two boards? There was the two boards that were like kind of full of pictures, and then there was a littler one in the middle. Right, and then there was a littler one in the middle that only had a few pictures on it, and it had a bunch of candles and stuff in front of it, like a shrine. So I'm guessing that's the wall for the people there have actually found people. Yeah. They put their people there.
Yeah. So I can see a good dual purpose. Hey, let's take pictures of every walker that we come across that's dead. Let's kill the walkers, take pictures of them, but let's also kill people, I guess. And we'll take pictures of them and tell their loved ones, hey, we found them like this, and hey, I just want to let you know that, right? So it could be people that they hired to kill, and which also goes back to Howard's point, should we put Will's picture on the wall of the lost? And I thought to myself, why then? I thought to bring this up again, this idea of why wouldn't you put Will's photo on the wall? And let's talk about that. Why wouldn't Victor put Will's photo on the wall of the lost, let's say? I mean, the obvious answer could be partially because Strand has no intention of bringing Alicia back there and giving her the same tour. What are your thoughts on this?
Or he doesn't want to be held responsible.
How would that have happened?
Just because the picture's there doesn't mean he killed him, but
Right.
maybe he wants Alicia to keep wondering. I don't know. Maybe it's just a torture technique. Who knows?
Interesting. But which begs the question: you're saying that he would bring her back to show her all his splendor, palace.
Well, with the exception of Morgan and Sarah and JoJo, everyone's gotten a tour so far. So he may at least give Alicia a tour if she shows up, even if she doesn't say.
I blanked out on who you were calling JoJo for a second. Josiah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So you think he is intending to give Alicia a tour? Let's say when she finds her.
At the very least, I think he would try and show her around.
Well, what do you think,
I
Shandy?
don't think so. I don't think he wants Alicia there at all, though. Because the whole point of all the walkers out front was to keep Alicia away. I don't want her here.
Right.
I don't want her to see this person. I mean, he wants to show off to Morgan, but I think he's ashamed and doesn't want Alicia to see it.
Yeah, I think he's also kind of closet ashamed of it being one thing, then him taking it on himself to be selfish and make it another thing. Or, and this is something I brought up on Reddit, which I will bring in. Okay, I know, I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes I go on Reddit. But
why?
Sometimes we get hits and people come to the podcast and say, "Oh, I'm so glad you said this," instead of "Morgan is stupid." I know, Morgan is dumb. Reddit is full of Morgan is dumb people. Well, maybe you should go, Sharon. No, Morgan is.
At least I can back up my Morgan is dumb with facts.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
no, they can too, but it's just mean. It's just mean. A question was asked about why
Victor Strand
is the way he is. And I answered, I said, basically, when it counted the most, Alicia chose Morgan instead of Strand. We said this in the USS Pennsylvania, or in Mother. When it came down to Alicia calling for help, Victor picks up. She goes, "Hey, relay a message to Morgan. I don't want you doing this yourself. Can I count on you to do this?" And he does. But he says this on the USS Pennsylvania. He says, the fact that she trusted you over me, says a lot. I forget the exact words, but he says something to the effect of, "It used to be me and her." And of course, that's his fault, by the way. It's his fault that it's become something. It could have been he and she. But instead, Alicia happens to trust Morgan a lot more than Strand at the moment. There's the game of chicken they played and damage on the inside. And Strand is taking this all too personally. And I said, so if you want, look no further than, it really comes down to being hurt over Alicia choosing Morgan over him. And that got like 25 upvotes right immedially. It pays off sometimes.
Reddit is scary.
It's but it's getting. I don't want to sell false hopes. It feels like it's getting better, but it's still full of shit. I don't know what I think though about Alicia though in terms of what Sharon wants to do. I am kind of leaning towards what Charity's saying. I think he wants Alicia as far away as possible, and Will is a guarantee. But then if you don't have the picture, what is the guarantee? Seeing Walker Will in the mode of walkers, in the thousands of walkers.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty
Is that even possible?
Spectacular if she happened to see Will. Especially see him, not only see him, but recognize him.
Oh, yeah.
If Alicia did show up, it's possible, or if they cross paths, I'm not going to say if she shows up, but if they cross paths, it's possible that she would ask, "Hey, have you seen this guy? Have you seen the
Skuby
or whatever?" Have you... And Strand would have plausible deniability because he doesn't have the picture anymore. You're like, "I don't know who that guy is."
But let me show you around. Well, and the only thing I could think of is part of me doesn't even think Alicia is looking for Will for the express reason that Will mentions. It's like, "Hey, I did the thing and didn't happen to be the good thing, and so they kicked me out." It had to have been a big enough thing that she wanted done to justify it. So I don't think she's looking for him, but I think it also is a cool little like, well, if on the off chance, well, okay, but then also she left the note for Padre for Will, so maybe she is looking for him, right? So
I'm not saying necessarily looking for him, but when she comes across people, she's like, "Hey, have you seen this guy?
Have you seen this buoy?" Right. And so, but on the Victor side, it would be good for him not to have a picture of Will because, like you said, plausible deniability, and also fuck you. I don't care. I hope you wander the earth endlessly looking for Will. I hope you do.
Well,
fuck you. Instead
I'm
of
gonna
me,
go ahead and,
look for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go
Victor.
ahead and take a guess and say that they don't have pictures of all of the walkers that are in their moat right now, which is where Will is. So if he's just a walker among the moat, why would he have a picture there, right?
I guess. I mean,
do you think they have photos of all the walkers down there on the wall?
My take on the
possible.
photos was walkers that they've come across when they were out in the field or whatever.
and put down, right? These are
Right,
walkers that they've put down. So since these ones are still alive, they don't go on the wall. Well, alive, you know what I mean?
Oh, so okay? So maybe you bring up an interesting question, like in terms of, let's say, even coming across a walker will. If we're saying what we're saying, that maybe Victor doesn't want to even give Alicia a chance to even think that he may have killed him. And I know it sounds weird to say, but like,
I think
okay,
I know what you're saying.
If this guy's on the wall, did he kill him? Could it have been him that ended his life? Anything is possible. Mm-hmm. So maybe why bother entering into that into the equation? Why bother even putting that into question? Better that he wander the earth forever, never seeing Alicia again, quote unquote, than it being, because maybe it is possible that Victor's whole plan, as much as he says, I want to do the unthinkable so she'll never come back to me again. Maybe that's all window dressing. Maybe that's all like, I'm saying this to keep my heart partitioned, but that's not how life works. Sometimes we say things in order to compartmentalize, especially men. I'm just going to throw it out there. We fake it till we make it, but sometimes that's not how it works. Sometimes life has a way of creeping up and showing us the reality of the situation, that sometimes we do love people. Sometimes the reason why we do things is because we love people, and we hate that we love these people. That's totally possible. Totally possible.
Yeah, Strand could be saying one thing out loud, but have
believing
different
something
feelings.
Differently. Yeah. Or, I mean, and he does it because he has these feelings.
Maybe we all agree that if anyone could get through to Strand, it would be Alicia.
Yeah.
Which is why he wants to keep her at arm's length, because he knows this as well.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to make that possible. He wants to make it so that Alicia could never get through to him, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It always comes back to what Victor is doing is objectively bad. But if it means he can save a lot of people and give them a decent life to live in a tower that's capable of holding 1,000 people, that's not nothing. Is that subjectively morally bad? I come back to this question a lot. If it means that he gets to do what it kind of like the way he phrased it in season 6. If that means I'm doing what I have to do.
Yeah, he said, I can't do what I need to do with you around. Something along those lines. Probably not a direct quote, but
if that's what he feels like he needs to do
to become who I need to become.
And he does this on a grander scale. I'm not saying that I agree to this. I'm just saying it's a little sad, but it's also a little like, okay, if some good comes out of it, right? This is very utilitarian. If something good comes out of it, is it so bad? Is it the worst thing in the world? I mean, even Morgan points this out. Like, please help people. Please, for the love of God, save the world even. I am putting words in his mouth. But if you hurt people, I love, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you.
We could, an argument could be made for Negan's sanctuary too, because if you look at the people who were just living there, not the saviors, but the people just living there, they probably wouldn't have complained. People. Right? They probably wouldn't have complained about the situation.
Kind of like the perimeter. I mean, we said the same thing about them. Like, oh, Jennifer, you done killed Percy's uncle. All right.
Yeah,
what's for dinner, guys?
No, I still miss Tony.
Cool. I know.
I still miss Tony. I wish you would have taken out Percy and Tony'd still be around.
Yeah, but then Tony and Iris would be making out. That'd be gross.
Oh.
Anyway. But going back to the sanctuary, but there's other really good comparisons to make between Victor and Strand. Victor and Strand. Victor and Negan. Well, we had even on the podcast had suggested that they have something in common. I think when Carol and I were talking about this around season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead, or even before, we tried to draw some comparisons between the two, but it fell short because I feel like, I think let's all maybe agree to this, that like Victor is no stranger to lying. Whereas Negan is not a liar. If there's anything you can fault him on, it's not lying. I think I just used a double negative there, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's an honest asshole.
He's an honest scumbag. He's a scumbag, but he's an honest scumbag. And the root of what he's trying to do is good. He sees this as a way of doing some sort of moral good. There's an argument when it comes to Victor. He is almost a negative of Negan. He is no stranger to lying. He will lie to get his goals. That was clear in this episode. That's clear in the first episode. And you know what? It's funny because I feel like Victor is doing a hell of a lot better than Negan ever did. Negan ruled almost by fiat and violence and force. He scared the shit out of all the people under him, and his lieutenants made sure of that. Whereas if you look around in Victor's tower, everybody seems really happy to be there. It didn't look like the sanctuary where it looked like the flea market, like the dreaded flea market of wares. And like, yeah, let me get this. No, I'm a lieutenant. I get all of this. And like, okay, this is like Mad Max shit. But like, you go in Victor's tower, checkers, pretzels and beer, to your point.
People doing yoga.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It seems way cooler than the sanctuary. I mean, you can see why when Negan finally goes back to the sanctuary, why it fell. Like, it was never going to survive. It needed you, Negan. But with Victor's, it feels more or less self-sustaining. Everybody feels like they're a part of the thing. They don't have to rule by force. The lies seem to work really well. I don't know what he's holding over people. That's the thing. That's the only thing that bothers me, is what keeps this whole thing going. What is it? What is it? What is being told to the people to get them to work in harmony? What is the thing that's holding this whole thing up? What is the lie or the truth?
I don't think he needs to lie, because I wouldn't want to go anywhere else if I saw this place and it was like, oh, they have food. And like you said, toilet paper.
Toilet paper, right.
Why would you need to be kept? Other than someone like Mickey, who's determined to go out and do something. You know, she has a objective and a purpose and a drive to do something. Most people, me,
or
I'd
dependence.
Be like, I'm good. I'm good here. I don't really want to go out into the world where everything is nuclear and radiated and everybody's dying in this death. No thanks. I'm good here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He also mentions, that they have scouted in 50 miles in every direction, and this is the only inhabitable place that there is. So if he's telling that to people, then they'd be like, all right, well, I guess we're staying here because there's literally no place else.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's keeping the radio chatter to a minimum because he doesn't want anybody in that building to hear the word Padre.
Victor, you're saying? Victor?
Yes. Yeah. Victor is not letting people listen to the radio.
Right.
I mean, especially after Mickey heard it and escaped. And that's something that Mickey brings up is Strand wants me back. Well, he'd lock her up so that she can't share with anyone else how she escaped.
But so that's another question that I had. She says he wants to lock me up so that she can't do same. But what purpose is that?
I think he wants to
find Padre
so that nobody else can figure out how to get in.
Why not kill her?
People are a resource.
Oh, Negan! You pulled a Negan. But do you think that's what it is though? Or I'm almost like, I don't think he, like, after what he did to Will and Howard, like, oh, let me kill him, brr, demon. Would Victor hesitate to kill somebody that is a liability? That's what's killing me, is like, there must be some other utility that she has that maybe we'll find out about at some other junction, because it seems like Aisha Tyler / Mickey is hanging around as a third wheel in the Dark Horse podcast, the Dark Horse trio, I guess, or something. So maybe there's more to it than we're able to see at the moment. There's got to be some utility to her. Like, to your point, if she is a resource, what is that resource? And that could be Padre. He may have kept her around because she has more of an idea of what Padre is. I think the idea of Padre does intrigue Victor a little bit. Maybe as a means to shut it the hell down. Maybe he wants to be the only option. I mean, the hints that have been dropped throughout this episode of why he goes, or why he sends Howard to send Eli to make it so that they're the Victor's tower is the only option, that seems clear. What ends up happening is a whole other story. So maybe if you take that, extrapolate what he tried to do to Dwight and Sherry to break them down and make him seem like the tower's the only option, extrapolate that and superimpose it onto Padre, he may want to find Padre only in as much as to maybe say nuke it. And it's funny because if that's the case, and because we had talked about Howard possibly taking a warhead from Morgan's stores, even though he does have the keys to the thing, probably, so he couldn't. The Stalkers seem to have a leaky nuclear warhead with which to avail themselves. So are we going to maybe possibly have another nuclear standoff?
Something you and I and Rachel talked about was the possibility of Morgan setting off a nuke on Strand's tower.
It would have to be one of those things where the show decides that Morgan's had enough and Morgan is going to break bad, and then
if something happened to Grace and Baby Mo, don't you think it'd go there?
Yeah, I do, definitely. And I remember thinking of something very interesting as a response to this, like what circumstances would have to happen for this to happen just right. And I don't remember any of it. Because I thought I first thought it would be like incredulous. I said, oh, that doesn't make any sense. And then slowly I started thinking, wait, it actually kind of does. And I can't remember exactly why. I really can't. It would have to be a certain, like you said, Baby Mo and Grace, sure. But then there would have to be something more to it. I think there is something interesting about, you've got this objective morality, these are the rules of the road when it comes to an ideal world, the world that doesn't have a nuclear pressure or constant murder and rape and whatever. No, I don't know what's going on out there. But and then there's the subjective morality, okay? How are we in a world that has these pressures, There's what we know we should be doing. And then there's what's going on and how we have to adapt to it, right? But what if both of these ideas have nukes? And then both of them feel like they have to be a certain way in order to exert their power. There is something interesting about it. It does fall apart the more you think about other people. like Sarah and Althea and even Grace and Baby Mo and Wendell and what else is there? Luciana. We always forget about Luciana. So,
Poor Lucy.
I know. But yeah, when other people get involved, it's like, okay, well, guys, hey, stand down. But we'll probably flesh this out in the coming episodes because I know we're having what is this, 205? So yeah, we got 3 episodes until the mid-season, so who knows what's going to happen. Oof. Racing towards the middle.
So I got some serious Milton vibes watching Mickey put her Walker suit back together. Anybody else?
Milton from The Walking Dead? Mm-hmm. That was Woodbury Milton, is it? No,
yeah.
It was Prison Milton, right? Or
No. Woodbury Milton. Yeah, because he gets the duct tape sleeves and it stops the Walker from biting him. And I was like, oh, look at that. She's using duct tape as armor.
Do you felt like Aisha Tyler had a hand in this episode? Because it did feel like they dropped some of these, like you said, some of these Easter eggs on purpose. Mm-hmm. I mean, even to the point where, can I just say this out loud?
She does like her Easter eggs.
But specifically when Dwight is saying to her, I've seen you somewhere before. I just can't place it. And in my head, and I was about to say this out loud as I'm watching last night, I'm half
Friends.
dead.
No, I'm kidding.
Archer. No, yeah, didn't you direct that episode that had Dwight and Sherry in it last year? Yeah, no, I know I've seen it because we were talking all about it. Like it was JD, wasn't it? Or
yeah,
it was JD, right? Because it featured Dwight and Sherry. It was like, oh yeah, the Negan Walker behind them. Yeah, I remember you. Yeah, you directed that episode we were in, right? Yeah. And it felt like it was dragging out, so it made it that much more funny in my mind. And then Dwight finally drops the wrestler thing. Did you guys think that too, or am I crazy? Okay.
Yeah.
Dwight was us fangirling over it. Oh my god, I know you. I'm your biggest fan. Yeah. One of your fans is still here.
Okay. Now, knowing that you just said that, did you feel a little uncomfortable? Because you could see Mickey being really awkward, I don't want to talk about this right now. And he keeps going, right? I thought it was
to work on his celebrity etiquette.
I know. Yeah. I thought it was really well done though.
I just like that, dude.
Right? Dwight went all out. Mickey is a whole other set of uncomfortable, and Sherry's kind of right in the middle, going. Just for the audio podcast, I'm kind of it makes she's about to say something to Dwight. Maybe Dwight, you should just. Oh, I think that's the person she's mourning right now, or missing. Oh, maybe you should stop. So sorry, I had to do that for the audio podcast. Dwight. Stop it. Ooh, it's getting to be more and more. I can't remember the last time I've seen Aisha Tyler act in real life. The last thing I remember hearing is her playing her character in Archer.
Archer, the cartoon?
Yeah, the cartoon. Isn't that her, Aisha Tyler?
She was. I have no idea. I don't watch Archer. She was on the last few seasons of Criminal Minds.
Oh, okay. When was that though?
I think season 15 just aired a couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that the season she was in, or?
She was in season 15. But I think she joined in. Oh God, you're putting me on the spot now. I think she joins in 12 or 13. I think she joined because it's right when Hotch leaves, and then Tara joins the team. I don't think there's any overlap between Tara and Hotch, but
she's still on that show. Is the question?
He was in Criminal Minds until 2020.
Oh.
So okay. So it felt like 2 years ago, but I guess season 15 just ended last year.
Well, it's almost 2 years ago. Yeah, that's 2 year credit.
Well, okay. All right. So, okay.
She was also on Modern Family through 2020.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I know her most famously as Charlie on Friends.
Oh, okay. Well, that was
Yeah,
ages ago.
I watched her on Whose Line.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That makes sense.
I completely forgot about that.
Oh,
wow.
man, she's so funny.
She's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Oh my God, deadpan. Oh, did you notice that as they're burying Brigga, well, the Larsons in general, Dwight says out loud, without even knowing who it was, "Play with fire, you get burned." He says this out loud. He says Eli's words in the beginning out loud again. I thought that was kind of cool that he knew it without knowing it really, that it was Eli that did it. I think there's something very powerful about having Eli's words, this idea of subjective morality, let's say. You know, if you can't keep what's yours, is it yours? It ain't yours. That kind of morality. And it echoing in his mindset as he's burying the Larsons. And then now we know that he's doing this to be in a world where he can raise a child, let's say, but without articulating it, without even maybe knowing it at the time, or fully being able to express it. We talked about this with Jasmine, I think it was. It was Sharon D. It was when we were talking about The Walking Dead World Beyond. We're like, oh, every generation says they don't have kids because they want to raise them in a world like this horrible. Meanwhile, it's like every generation has kids. Like almost everybody in your friends list or your high school ends up having kids, except for me. Yeah, exactly. Not you, Rachel. Sorry.
I'm a breeder.
I bred once.
Somebody has to keep the species going.
Yeah.
I just think it'll be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we bring this up again because it's just interesting to see this type of theme play out. You know, it does make people who say this a little dumb, because if they can, in a nuclear holocaust, if they can imagine being in a world, you know, where and maybe they feel like they have to a little bit, right? But if they feel like they can/have to in this kind of world, what are we doing here, folks? This world is crazy great. And then you really have to think about like, is this the Mongols in China? I mean, is this like, are we living in a world with rape and I can get orange juice off the shelf. How crazy great is that? I live in a great world. I mean, yeah, there's pressures, sure. But there's never been a better time to have kids if you really wanted them. I mean, objectively speaking. And yet we feel like this world's so horrible. I'm like, well, it's not that bad. I like that this is brought up, you know, and you almost feel like an asshole for saying that. It's like, oh, this world sucks for kids. I'm like, well, it might be hard, but
I don't feel bad saying that. Are you kidding me? My son's junior high got rid of their wood shop and put in a tech classroom.
Yeah, but is it a radioactive tech classroom?
No.
Is it so bad that he learned tech stuff?
Over woodworking? Yes, yeah. I think so, in my opinion.
I agree with you, but like, would that stop you from having children?
No.
If you were... Yeah, see, there you go. There you go. That's all I'm saying. I mean, objectively,
to be fair,
specifically.
To be fair, God sort of made that choice for me.
He just went with it.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, this is what we're doing now.
Right,
having a kid.
Let's go. Let's do it.
This is what life has in store for me.
Well, and now that brings us to Dwight and Sherry and this idea that maybe they might call their son John Jr.
and
or
Tina.
John. Yeah.
No, he wouldn't be a junior because he's Dwight and Sherry's kid. So just John.
I just like the idea that I just want him to be called John Jr. for some reason.
I mean,
they
could give him the middle name Junior. Doesn't mean he has to be a junior.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I see Sharon D shaking her head. What's up?
So now comes the time when I have to talk about all the John and June parallels in this episode.
Yeah, why not?
First of all, in this situation, Mickey is June. She has to put her husband down. Finds her husband, has to put him down. The letter that her husband leaves her that she reads out loud.
Oh, in last season. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking season 4 for some reason.
But in Humbug's Gulch, John and June help Dwight. So in this episode, Sherry and Dwight are helping Mickey. It makes me worry for Dwight for one thing, because we know what happened to John.
Right.
And it also really makes me worry about June.
Oh, going back to June Dory for real life. Okay.
I'm very, very scared for June.
What do you think I was trying to complain about in the last episode? You're like, no, it's a great place. I'm like,
no. I'm not worried about her with Strand necessarily.
Oh, that's what I was worried about. It's like the spirit of John is dead. That's what I didn't articulate it. Of course, I didn't articulate it. But yeah, that's what I was worried about. The independent spirit, the knowing which way is up sort of thing, you know? Or
You were
like
speaking
knowing
to
that you
her-
can do shit on your own. Or maybe.
You were speaking to her mental state, not her physical state.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
her mental,
okay.
yeah, her
We both
physical
thought
state's
you meant
amazing.
we both thought you meant in Strand's tower. Yeah.
Yeah, in Strand's tower, but like, what's the cost? What's the catch? You know, like what do I got to do? You know, also like what does June have to compromise in order to live in Strand's tower too? Like, there's got to be a compromise, and if there's not, that's great.
In her stories, when she was doing the Instagram takeover, somebody asked her a question about being in the tower or something. And she said that June is going to get a lot more politically savvy.
Oh, fuck. Oh, man. Okay. All right. Something that she may not have been able to do under Ginny, I think. Or maybe she didn't. We were too busy to do, you know? I mean,
He was worried about the hospital.
June could run this thing. Well, here's
But-
the consequence of her running
But
this thing.
now she's in the tower where I'm sure people have bumps and bruises and cuts and scrapes and such like that, but the emergency, constantly having to go here and there to save people, she won't have to do that.
Won't have to go far.
So she can focus her energies on other things besides the hospital.
Let's move on.
So anyway, I just thought there were so many parallels between John and June, and we said back in season 6 in 603 when Dwight and Sherry found each other how they were paralleling John and June so much, and they have really expanded on that, which makes me worry for Dwight because I really feel like one of them is going to die this season, and I really think it's going to be Dwight.
I really hope he doesn't, but obviously anything goes. I also noticed that like when Dwight was burying the Larsons, I did feel like that little color of John losing hope sort of thing, like him bargaining in a sense, like akin to when he has this moment in season 5 with June. I think it was in the pilot for that, so not pilot, the season premiere, where he goes, we have so much luck. I only wish I could share this luck that we both have. But also there's a tinge of like, when is our luck going to run out? We've been so lucky this far, that's not how life works. Life doesn't work that way. I mean, John at least knows that much in his hope and changey kind of lovey-doveyness that we relied on him for. But I like the fact that he's real enough to express the fact that, I was a cop and I did right, but I hurt somebody, so that's the world. You can only go on so long before you make a mistake. So there was a little bit of that going on too. And of course, case in point, Dwight trying to do right in this world. There's a little bit of that karmic thing that I do not like. This karma, I don't believe in karma, but like, if we do enough good, we can make up for the bad, and good things will come to us. I'm like, that's not how it works. But to go back to the parallel, I feel like there is a little of that, like, we try to do all this right, and in the process of doing all this right, and a little bit of bad has to get done, we drew too much attention to where we lived and this good family that kept us safe during the fallout, suffered the consequences. So that's not supposed to happen. Karma doesn't work that way. Oh, see, guys, I'm right. Karma is bullshit. In a fake world, karma is bullshit. Well, points to you guys. Oh, well. I also found another parallel a little bit. John had hid the letter from Dwight initially saying, that Sherry had given up on, she said, don't look for me. Mm-hmm. But when John had that letter, he hid it from him until it was like, okay, I can't hide this letter. She said not to look for you or whatever. So that was kind of cool. And then when Mickey finally finds it, she finds it on his person. Kind of like the AG Lumber guy too. So that was a little bit of a callback. Do you remember that in season 4, the AG Lumber walker?
Yeah.
Or a set of walkers that were coming from that factory?
Mm-hmm. What does Mickey find
At
on
least-
his person?
The letter.
Well,
I think
Dwight
Dwight
found
it.
Dwight found it in a room. It wasn't.
I thought it was
at
on
all.
his body. Oh, okay. Well, kind of like the AG Lumber factory, it was in the room. I don't remember if it was on the body though of the walker, the guy who was sending those notes on walkers to save him.
And then
Alicia
if he
goes
had
on a
pinned
quest.
I don't remember if he had something pinned on him.
Yeah.
Either.
Well, so there you go.
No. Okay.
But also like the one of the walkers that had the knife on it, that reminded me of like a railroad spike or something. And what does a railroad spike have to do with that episode? I can't remember.
It was like the Walker and Laura that came through the Jeep that had the machete through its chest, and it ripped out the window of the Jeep that John and June were in.
Okay. Yeah,
And he didn't want to shoot it.
Oh, because of the guns.
I want to say that Christina Evangelista was a badass in this episode. Like, Sherry had some really sweet kills. She was a badass.
I don't know if this is a directing choice, but how natural some of her dialogue was in this episode. You could tell that there was a little bit of ad-libbing on her end of things mostly. Like you can hear it. Like it wasn't like prominent. It was like in the background sort of, but it was kind of cool. A little organic in a mostly principled, diametrically kind of like opposed narrative, like of certain principles, subjective and objective principles. Like you still have this like background noise.
Sherry said 2 of Wendell's lines in this episode.
The code?
One, we got a code. We got a code. And the other one is now you're getting it. Wendell says it to Al in 4:14. Oh, she says, when you help people, shit goes wrong or something like that. And he's like, now you're getting it. Yeah.
Actually,
and the way they deliver it is almost the same, too. That's why it caught my ear.
That's funny because I'm reading right here one of my notes. It says the right way, the code, helping people. Karma isn't guaranteed. Not saying that Strand is the right thing. I noted that. I'm like, guys, I'm not defending Strand, but that it's not enough. Karma isn't enough. Bad shit happens, right? I think that was also something that either Althea said or somebody says it on the show. Bad shit happens, and that has nothing to do with the good.
That was it. Bad shit happens when you help people.
Yeah.
Althea says it because Wendell's telling her how he got in the wheelchair, and she says, bad things happen when you help people. And he says, now you getting it. Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, handshake. We did it. We figured it out. But I think that's the thing that bothers me about Karma is it doesn't account for the fact. And look, these shows have a very pretty way of illustrating that even those bad moments that kind of crash into your window unexpectedly somehow were meant to be a good thing that eventually happens. That's so like you can even argue like had Wendell not gotten to a wheelchair, he wouldn't have. Nobody would be in the situation where Sarah could help people or things like that. Like it's a ripple effect. Bad things happen then you adjust to it, and things happen in life for other good things to happen. Whatever. But what does it have to do with karma? What does it have to do with your actions? It just seems like cars crashing into other cars' life, and then we adjust. That's what it comes down to. I just think it's just silly to think that you do good things and good things should happen in return. I think you should do good things and, hopefully you engender other people to do good things. And I think that creates a better world to live in. I know it sounds like karma, but it's definitely not. Sorry, I know you guys don't agree with me. I think that's what pissed me off about this episode a little bit, is that like they're so concerned, they're so involved in karma, and I'm just like, what did karma ever do for you?
I guess I didn't really see them thinking about it as karma so much as just don't be Negan, don't become Negan. That's what I saw. I didn't really see them expecting good to come back their way. It was just more about don't go down this path. We're going to do what needs to be done without doing it the way he did. We're going to take a higher road and do what needs to be done. I didn't really get the impression that they were expecting good things in return, I guess.
But doesn't it worry you a little bit that they have to be so concerned about not turning out like Negan? Like the fact that you have to say it. Why are you so afraid of that happening though? Do you know?
Well, I think the fact that I think at that point they'd probably killed a couple of people and they had to make peace with that somehow.
Right. To have a code with which to hold. But even then, like I think that's what bothered me. Like even Negan had his own code, like he had his own set of rules to prevent him from being some sort of monster.
And they worked for him. But I think according to Dwight and Sherry, they're like, no, that was a bad code. We have a better code.
I think you plagiarized. That's why I was saying, you think you plagiarized just a little bit. Only we happen to be Dwight and Sherry. We happen to be, but we're the good guys.
Well, they're trying to be. They're trying to be. That's
so was Negan though.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
I know.
He thought he was.
He did lose his way. I know I'm being.
Yeah.
No, he did lose his way. I'm not saying he didn't. But
but Sherry and Dwight have a completely different perspective.
Oh shit.
But Sherry and Dwight have a completely different perspective.
Having come from right. But maybe this is an interesting flirtation because we had discussed had Lucille lived, maybe would have looked a little bit more like Dwight and Sherry. That is interesting to me. I didn't think we'd actually go there, but we're here. So,
yeah, but do we think Lucille would be trying to take this high road? Because I thought we had kind of decided that she would be even worse.
but it's a flirty. You never know. You never know. I will say that openly. I know based on Here's Negan, I'll put this on me. I had assumed that Lucy would be the badass. Negan would be the, gamer guy that swears at children kind of thing. And,
Lucy.
being him without having to take the responsibility, that kind of thing. And she would have the husbands and he would just be on the side, or the main husband, or, you know what I mean? It's good to remind people where we're at, but it's kind of cool to maybe even, put that to the side and imagine that, what if this is what it could have looked like, instead of it eventually, kind of like to Carl's point, like, when did this get away from you, when he was saying this to Negan at the gates of Alexandria. And we know now, well, it all started with Here's Negan, that's where it kind of just whoop, and then eventually went down a weird curve. It started out with good intentions. I embraced a part of myself that could have been a part of my wife, let's just say. But it was definitely him seeing red on behalf of his wife.
The Victor we're seeing right now could have been the early stages of Negan, too.
God, I hope not. There's a part of me that actually wants him to straddle this line of helping people out of spite, almost. Like, it's like almost, it almost makes Morgan super right. I'm gonna help people out of spite, Morgan.
And Morgan's like, yes, please do.
Yes, okay. Oh, just you wait, Morgan. Oh, I'm gonna save the world. Oh.
I'm gonna make everybody so happy. Just you wait.
Oh, I know you don't like that. I almost wish Morgan would go, I'm gonna put a stop to you, right? And Strand goes, you can't stop me. I will say. It's like the Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go this way. No, I'm gonna go that way. And Strand goes that way. I don't know.
And then Morgan goes,
cool.
ha ha ha, you fell for my trap.
Our episode graphic in the next episode is going to be Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. I did want to say one thing. It's the dumbest thing. Dragon fruit is a type of cactus. It's kind of cool. Little cool factoid. This is me. Until I found that out, I was kind of like, oh, this is an exotic fruit from distant land. It's like, no, it's right. You can get it in Texas. It's right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never eaten one before.
Oh, it's good.
I've never had one. Is it sweet like a fruit, like you would expect fruit to be?
I heard it was kind of bland.
Yeah, it's not too sweet.
So it looks much cooler than it tastes.
It tastes good. It's pretty good. Yeah, and the fact that it lasts a long time too in your fridge is great.
Oh, nice.
So it's not overly sweet. It's pretty good. Like most cactus. I mean, I've eaten a lot of cactus.
I have never eaten cactus.
It's some are sweeter than others. It's pretty cool. But I did want to say something about Milas. Milas and his boys that Eli and Ween mentioned at the beginning of the episode. Milas is Latin, is from the root word amulus, which means rival or competitor. I thought that was kind of a cool, because it's such a weird, random name, but it's not. It is random.
Very weird.
But it's not random. Milas, Milush.
See, he's a perfectly good, brand new name that we've never heard before.
Right.
We didn't have to recycle anything. It was wonderful.
We'll never see him ever again.
Great.
Rival, imitating, or competitor. Competitor is a better word too. Competitor for what? I guess dragon fruit. But let's talk about the end. We were just about to sign off, but I was just thinking to myself, okay, it looks like the stalkers make a deal with the dark horses. Is that what they call the dark horses?
Yes.
Is that what they're called?
The dead
I keep
horses.
thinking there's another word.
Dark horses.
Okay. Now, what do we think is going on here? Because first of all, these are the same people who have that leaky nuclear warhead. Okay, let's put that in the back of our minds. We may have seen the leader. That could be the guy, and his name is either Arno or Arnold, or he sounds a lot like John Anderson, I think. Do you know who I'm talking about?
This person's voice was so familiar to me, and I purposely did not look up who it was because I still want to continue thinking about it, unless you're going to spoil it for me right now.
I didn't look it up, but it sounded to me like, have you ever seen...
It sounds so familiar.
He's from Office. I think because I have a knack for finding out celebrity voices, like when you don't know who it is, like in cartoons and stuff like that.
Yeah,
he sounds a lot like.
I have an ear for that too.
Do you remember? What was that cartoon? That Mike Judge cartoon with the 4 Texan dudes.
King of the Hill.
Thank you, King of the Hill. It sounds like John Anderson, the guy, the male pattern baldness guy, and the
Bill Dauterive.
Yeah. He also is in Office Space. He's like, my stapler. And he also is in Man in the High Castle.
Stephen Root.
Is that Stephen Root? Okay, that's Stephen Root. Yeah, I thought it was. I don't know. I think his name is John.
But
Anderson.
Bill, he doesn't do Bill Daltrey's voice.
Oh, then who does? I thought it was him. I don't know why I thought it was him.
He's
Stephen Root was
been in a bunch
he's the
of
stapler
stuff.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the stapler guy. Okay.
He's been in a bunch of stuff though. Like he's got that face. I never knew his name.
And he
until
has
just
such
now.
a great,
But his
flexible
face, yeah.
voice too. By the way,
Yeah.
it is so good. So, and he is the man in the high castle. In the Man in the High Castle.
He was the boss in News Radio too, the guy that owned the radio
Yeah,
station.
yep.
Yes, man,
So-
that was a good
wow.
show.
What a
that
long
was a good
career.
show.
So, and he looks so good for a man who's had this long of a career. Anyway, so I
Most
think
men
it
look
might.
better as they age. Fuckers. Yeah, fuck you.
I'm like, it's for the podcast listeners. I did a thumbs up and then I went, ooh, no thumbs down. No, but it sounds a little bit like him. That if I had to take a guess on who it was, and that would be really super cool to have Stephen Root on the Fear the Walking Dead.
That would be
Like,
cool. I think that would be a voice that I would recognize, but not be able to pinpoint because I didn't know his name until just now. So yeah,
But you knew not by face, whatever. You knew by face, not by name.
I would know him by face. Yeah.
Yeah. Or by voice.
Right. Well, and that's why. I mean, it's whoever's under that mask. I'm gonna know who it is. I'm telling you. Or they sound like someone else. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm content not knowing until
Yeah.
it happens. I'm fine with
Yeah.
that.
I don't want to look it up. I'm not going to spoil myself.
Yeah.
I want to keep.
Well, let's
thinking about
continue on this narrative though. Like what I had a feeling or a thought that these people are with Alicia at first, and then I wonder why. What would be the purpose? And they're looking for Padre too. Well,
Right.
And that's to say, has Alicia found Padre? It could be that she hasn't, but it's an idea or a concept that she's still looking for. So it is a possibility that she's with these people. What do you think of that?
I don't know if they're with her or not. If I had to answer right now, my gut is saying no.
No,
that they're,
right.
that
Mine
they're not
too.
with Alicia. But is it possible? Of course it's possible. The first thing I noticed was that these stalkers, their clothing to me looked different than the stalkers we have seen prior. Like the first stalkers we see, I don't know if it's like the coloring or what, but they seemed like they were covered in like a lot of plastic.
Yeah,
right? Like sheets of
those
plastic.
potatoes.
Well,
okay.
like plastic sheeting almost, and then these guys are covered more in cloth and coats and drab and the potato bag that Ginny uses as a sling.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
yeah. So I was even thinking like, are these the same people? Are these stalkers?
I mean, I like the little tiny, there's almost a little bit of a nod to the Tusken Raiders on Star Wars, right? You saw that, Sharon?
Yeah,
You felt
yeah.
that? Okay.
Especially with the yeah.
Yeah. And the eyes.
Anyway, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
You know I had to do it. Okay. Whatever. Then there's the obvious question of like, okay, what's the deal with stripping and then districting all these naked walkers everywhere? What, is there a smoke screen? Is there a purpose to this somehow?
Yeah.
What's the deal with the nuke?
The taking stuff makes sense to me, but redistributing the bot like them around, that's where I'm like, what? Why?
Okay, I have something. I don't know what the naked shit's all about. That's completely lost on me. But spreading them around makes a little bit of sense if we were to narratively compare that to Victor's Tower. If we spread them around, we have enough of a threat in certain areas for some reason. I don't know why, but what are they trying to do? Because they haven't found Padre, so why district them? Why send these naked walkers everywhere? Why hold them in pens? A to whatever, A to Z, let's say. I don't know. But narratively, I can see already some sort of comparison with Victor's Tower and having the mode of walkers. Okay, so what are they protect? What are they trying to protect here? Then I thought of something else. We keep thinking of the nuclear warhead as a possible weapon. But what if we draw some comparisons to The Walking Dead World Beyond and say, well, maybe they're using the warhead to power, let's say, like a nuclear factory or a nuclear power plant. What if that's what they're doing it for? Maybe they're being hired by the CRM. Okay, now I'm reaching. But I always thought the CRM hired Ginny to create the fuel for the CR. It was never really fully fleshed out. But I thought of that in season 5. I thought that maybe there would be a connection between the CR and Ginny's people. but we never went there. And I was like, what is the deal with controlling the fuel? Like, I guess maybe the idea of transportation and civilization, they're connected. Like, if we can reach far places with our cars and gasoline and make more fuel, we can be more interconnected even though we're far away. There is something to be said about creating roads, like the game Civilization. When you create roads between settlements, you can get there quicker, safer, etc. So there's some logic to that. But then when Logan and the fuel idea came around and Ginny came around, I always thought in the back of my mind, like, what, they could have made this bigger than it is and said, like, okay, Ginny is making the fuel not just for civilization, she's also making the fuel for the CRM, because then they get benefits, they get food and stuff and things and things like that. But it never went there, so I dropped it from my mind. And I feel robbed. I feel like I really wished I'd said this sooner. But maybe they might bring this back again. Maybe the idea of fuel is something to be told about. Maybe the stalkers work for the CR or the CRM, let's say. Maybe they're making nuclear fuel for their lab in Portland. Or Padre maybe is another code for Portland, Maine. Sorry, for Portland, Texas. So I say this because maybe it's not the thing. Maybe when you see nuclear warhead, you think danger, danger, danger. You think weapon. Maybe they're using it for some other purpose. You know, maybe there's, not saying altruistic methods or whatever, but maybe there's some other purpose for this nuclear warhead that isn't destruction. Maybe it's creation. Like we said about Alicia beforehand, the end is the beginning. Maybe she's using it as a beginning, not an end. Maybe Alicia's in control this whole time. Maybe she's drank the Kool-Aid. Our girl Alicia. Rachel's looking at me very side-eyed like her. It's like, why do you want her to be bad? I don't want her to be bad. The show makes me think that she's going to be bad. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, if they plan to use this leaky warhead for anything, how do you contain it? How do you contain the gases that are spewing out? How do you make that usable?
They must have somebody that knows about this stuff, if anything. I mean, if you're going to handle these things, you have to have somebody that knows about this stuff.
They could always enlist Grace.
Interesting. I don't think there's anything else to say. Maybe Grace is the key to all this.
Even Grace with the know-how would still need the equipment to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Grace can figure that shit. Grace can do, like Morgan, can do anything.
with the right equipment, though. She would still need the proper equipment to do anything with it.
That made me think of Morgan's nuclear keys.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming the facility. Well, let's say I'm making leaps here, but yeah, I'm assuming Padre may also reference nuclear power. Nuclear power happens to be a really good, unrisky power source, contrary to popular belief. If you have the manpower to maintain such a thing and safety protocols and the updated facilities, I mean, what are we waiting for here? What are we doing here? I mean, power, and just like what Ginny was trying to do with roads and fuel, if you have power, you can... This is like the whole basis of the show Revolution. Like, I don't know if you ever got to see it.
I have seen it.
Right? The whole basis of the show was power. The idea of combustion, I think combustion, right? Gasoline-powered combustion went out, so they couldn't make electricity. Right. Or the means by which to make electricity was just gone. Oh, sorry. I think I just spoiled a plot point. But it's cool to see what happens to civilization. But if you can get civilization, boot up, again, and you're responsible for that, well, then you can, it's just like Victor, you can control certain things, Hey, you got the power, you got the magic wand to do things, people are going to follow you. I just want to end off with one thing. Maybe Jamrock isn't just about, obviously it's not just about Jamaica, but the idea that maybe Padre isn't what it's cracked up to be. Because you have to remember, Mickey is looking for Padre too. And so bringing up all these puzzle pieces together and the idea of this could be the Jamaica vacation retreat that we're looking for, it may not be. All that glitters is not gold. Maybe it's to achieve the thing that they need out of Padre, they have to go through a lot of pain. So
that would be very fitting for Fear. Give us hope and then crush us with it.
Yeah.
It's the hope that kills you.
That's right.
Hope Bennett. Anyway, sorry. Maybe.
That's Iris.
Oh.
It's the Iris that kills you. Wait.
It's
That's what you get.
Yeah, that's what you get. And
shut up,
that's
Iris.
what you get today. If you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and an iris. I mean, an eggplant is all we need to know that you love us.
That would be the poop emoji.
Tell us what we got right. Tell us what we got wrong. Just tell us after every episode. It really is clearly making a difference, judging by our chartable in Austria and Canada, and it really has helped. You spreading the word, sharing these podcasts, sharing these YouTube videos has helped. And you know what? I'm not saying it has helped. Stop. No, please continue to, because we're obviously, I'm saying this, I'm being very bold in saying this, we're obviously the best Walking Dead universe podcast on the internet right now.
Clearly.
We know it, but the problem is the world doesn't know it, and we need your help. We do need your help. And hey, once you're done sharing these podcasts and these videos, and you really, really want to be a part of this thing, the thing that we're doing, this awesome, best TWU podcast that is out there, head over to ko-fi.com, create an account, and follow us at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. Just follow us. You'll get to know when we have a recording session scheduled. You can get the unedited episode recordings ahead of time, so you don't have to wait till next week to hear this, because you probably have AMC Plus, and you want to know what we think. And you get it unfiltered. You get some BTS in the process. You get some pre-show. You get some post-show. You get all the edits in between where I said, hey, stop, can I do that again? You get all that. And hey, if you want a piece of that action, you can tip us and get supported back content for 30 days. Or you can join a membership tier for as little as $1 a month. Join our Discord, along with a whole set of perks. I've been your host, David Cameo. I've been joined by Cosmom09, Rachel Burt, and Charity, aka Blaze Gardner, and Mario in the chat. Thank you, buddy. I think you hung in there until the end.
I think he's still here.
You're still there.
He's still here.
You are something else, man. You are something else. I'll tell you that much. That's staying in.
Thanks, Mario.
But you guys can be something else too. Join us on this ride. Anyway, we'll see you next time for our Walking Dead World Beyond. I cannot wait to talk about that episode, by the way. Oh my God. These episodes just get better and better and better. Ooh, join us for that one too. We'll see you guys in that one, hopefully very, very soon. Oh, have a good day at work, Mario.
Oh my gosh. He's got to go to work in an hour. Crazy.
I'm hoping he woke up super early. That's my hope.
Okay.
I know that's not the case. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.